Hey, how's it going, guys? Sorry I couldn't be there. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling that great right now. Um, I'm going to go over the lesson real quick, and that is something that you guys have done before, which is factoring. We're going to use factoring to solve quadratic equations, which, again, you kind of have done already. If there's some questions, really try to understand what I'm doing. Pause the video, rewind it, watch it again. I'm really trusting that you guys can use your self-efficacy um, to figure this out. Okay, use your resources, talk to each other, really try to figure things out. It's a really good skill for you to have. Other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. I don't know if I can find it. Okay. All right, so you guys should be able to see my screen now. So we're going to be solving quadratic equations by factoring. Make sure that you pause the video, write this down on your notes first, and then go ahead and watch the video, please. So when we're solving quadratic equations, we're actually solving for the x-intercepts of the function. Hence, that is why we have to set it equal to 0. So if you remember from when we went over the key features, I told you guys that to find the x-intercepts of any function, you can plug in 0 for y. To find the y-intercepts of any function, you need to plug in 0 for x. So that is basically what we're doing here. We're actually setting, replacing the 0 for the y because we want to find the x-intercept. So if I were to give you this problem in a different way, the 0 would be technically your y value or your y variable. In this case, it's already done. So we don't actually have to do that, okay? All right, so one of the things that I want to mention is when you're finding the x-intercepts of a quadratic, we actually have a bunch of different names. For some reason, I'm not really sure why, we actually call the x-intercept solutions and we call them roots, okay? Just know the vocabulary, write it down. Just know that when I'm asking you for the solutions, I'm asking you for the x-intercepts. When I'm asking you for the roots, I'm asking you for the x-intercepts. They mean the same thing. For some reason, we just made a bunch of different vocabulary. Cool. So how do I find the solutions of a quadratic function? Well, the first method that we're gonna go over is by factoring, which you guys already know how to do, okay? All right, so my first step is to find a greatest common factor. I can see right away that I do have a greatest common factor, which in this case is 4. So I'm gonna go ahead and divide everything by 4. Remember that that 4 is still there, it doesn't go away. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and divide. So that's gonna be 1, that's gonna be 7, and that's gonna be 6. Okay, cool. So I took the greatest common factor out. Now watch what I'm gonna do. I told you guys that when you take out that 4, it matters if you're factoring completely. So like if I'm asking you to factor something out, it matters that that 4 is there. But because I'm solving for my x values and I have an equation, I can actually balance it off and get rid of that 4. So that 4 right now is being multiplied. And if I were to distribute that 4, we would go back to our original equation, right? Well, I have an equation. What if I get rid of it? I can get rid of it by dividing by 4 to both sides. Well, 4 divided by 4 equals 1, and 0 divided by 4 equals 0. So the 4 is gone. Now, all I have left is this equation. And it's completely correct because you have an equation now. Before, we just had an expression without the equal sign, so that was not possible. But now, because we do have an equation, it makes it possible. So from here, we're gonna go ahead and do the emoji method. I know that that's a 1, so I'm gonna multiply my A times C. So that's going to be 6, and my b value is going to be right there. Okay, so I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 6 and add up to 7. Well, that's going to be 6 times 1. And I'm going to divide by my a value. So I'm going to divide both of them by 1. We know that if I divide them by 1, it doesn't really matter because it's just 1. But again, get in the habit of doing that. Let's go ahead and put them into factors. So that's going to be 6 divided by 1, which is positive 6. And that's going to be 1 divided by 1, which is 1. Okay, and remember that we still have the equal to 0. So far, you have done this before. It's nothing new. We did it last week. Here's the extra step if I'm asking you to find the solutions or the x-intercepts, which again, I believe you have done in the previous lesson. We're going to set each and one of them equal to 0 and just solve for x. Minus 6, so x equals negative 6. Minus 1, so x equals negative 1. So my x-intercepts are negative 6 and negative 1. Okay, super easy stuff. Again, you guys have done it before. If again there's something you guys don't understand, go back to the video, pause it, rewatch it, rewind it, watch it slowly, just so you have a better understanding. Now, number 2, I want to find the roots. And again, the roots is the same as finding the x-intercepts. Remember that to find the x-intercepts, you need to set the equation equal to 0. As of right now, the equation is set equal to 14. So that would not work. We need to first move that 14 to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 14 to both sides of the equations. Well, I know that that's 0. So now I'm left with 0, which is what I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and drop the 5x squared. These ones cannot be combined because they're not like terms. So I'm just going to rewrite them in standard form. And now there's my equation. Cool. So now I can go ahead and do the emoji method. I noticed that there's no greatest common factor. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the emoji method. Okay. So that's going to be 5 times 14, which is 70. And then my b value is negative 3. So now I need to find two numbers that multiply to negative 70 and add up to negative 3. Let's see. Nope. Oh, 7 and 10. So 7 and 10 should work if I make the 10 a negative. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and divide both of them by my a value. And let's go ahead and put them into factors. I got x plus 7 over 5 and x minus 10 over 5 equals 0. All right, let's go ahead and simplify them. 7 over 5 does not simplify to a whole number, so I'm just going to move that in front of the x. So that's 5x plus 7. 10 divided by 5 does equal a whole number, so that's going to be x minus 2 equals 0. So now that my factors are complete, you can just go ahead and set them equal to 0 and find the solution or the roots. So that's minus 7, so that's 5x equals negative 7, and then divided by 5, so x equals negative 7 over 5, plus 2, so x equals 2. So my x-intercepts are going to be x equals 2 and x equals negative 7 over 5. All right. Hopefully that helps. Again, if you guys have any questions, I'll try to answer them, but I'll probably be on bed all day. So hope to see you guys soon. And yeah. We'll see you guys.